war on police escalating with the ambush on officers in Baton Rouge yesterday morning. The shooter, identified as a Marine Corps vet, Gavin Long, killed 3 cops, injured 3 others, just 10 days after the deadly ambush in Dallas. The sheriff of Baton Rouge pleading for a united front to end the animosity toward law enforcement. Joining me right now is Trump supporter and Congressman Lee Zeldin and Fox News contributor and Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran Pete Hegseth. Governor Mike Huckabee with me this morning as well. Good to see you, Congressman. Thanks so much for joining us. Pete Hegseth, good to see you. Your thoughts on what we're seeing in terms of this attack on law enforcement, Congressman?
We were reminded of the need for unity as a nation, standing with our first responders all across this America. They keep our communities and our country safe, secure, and free. They risk their lives every single day to be able to do it. And to see innocent, heroic first responders targeted is a call to action for leadership of this country to, instead of pursuing certain policies or rhetoric that might help stir up a base against law enforcement, it's a time to bring everyone together. This is a time to, we were reminded in Dallas, yet again we're reminded in Baton Rouge that our first responders are risking their lives, leaving their homes, their families, and we just stand with them.
I want to get all of your takes on this, because we've been talking about leadership a lot, and we've been talking about the fact that it really has to start with the president, and we're just not, we're seeing such divisiveness. So on a practical level, what does that mean? How do you do that? How do we come together?
Well, words do matter. I mean, I think that there are a lot of people in this country who, and Barack Obama got elected twice. There are a lot of people who cast ballots for him in 2008 and 2012. And when he makes a public statement after an innocent or an unfortunate tragedy might happen somewhere in this country, his words matter. And I think that for a lot of people who do follow him, they need to hear from him. You know, when Al Sharpton gives a speech firing up a crowd in New York City, and that video goes all across this country, there are people who are listening to those words as a call to action. What am I supposed to do in my hometown to help the cause? And for people who think that helping the cause is to target law enforcement, words do matter.
Yeah, and they empower the bad guys.
Well, and I think we need to have a civics lesson. Law enforcement. What does that mean? It means we enforce the laws that we have collectively agreed to. If you don't have the enforcement, you don't have a law. And the president is the most important person in setting the table and reminding us that if you don't like the laws we have, then get them changed through elected representatives like the congressman. But once you have them, the purpose of the police is to enforce them and make sure that we all abide. If we don't, then we're not a civilization. We're not a culture. We are just an anarchy, and it's social order breaking down, and we can't have that.
Pete, how do you stop it?
No, I think the congressman and the governor are exactly right. The first step down the road of unity is to have the backs of cops. We have to first agree that we're going to support our law enforcement, lock, stock, and barrel, no matter what. We also have to believe in the truth. Patience at times like this matters. What really happened matters. I'm from St. Paul. You know, that incident, that video that was so dramatic that everyone reacted to initially, that was one side of the story. It looked really bad, but days afterwards, we get the audio tape of what the call was about. It was not about a broken traffic light. It was about a potential armed robbery. We don't know what happened. We just don't know. And so we rushed to judgment. Our leaders rushed to judgment. The governor of Minnesota did, saying, oh, if this was a white guy, he wouldn't have been shot. Our president has done it since Cambridge when he said the cops acted stupidly. He still does it. Have patience, seek truth, and then have the backs of cops at the same time. And then we can have a conversation, because clearly there are cases in which blacks in this country are treated differently by law enforcement. We can have that conversation, but we need to do it in the context inside the left and right limits of truth and supporting our police.
But out of 600,000 police officers we have in this country, are there a few bad ones? Yes. But you know what? There's some bad chefs, but we still go out to eat. Yeah. There are some bad priests and pastors, but we still go to church. This idea that somehow that all cops ought to be questioned because out of 600,000, there's a handful that may have acted inappropriately. We've got to put it in perspective. That's something a president can do. He can put it in perspective. He can give it context. He has failed to do that. He has highlighted the exception rather than highlighting the norm. Right. And that's how you bring calm to what otherwise would be a very, very volatile situation. He's tossed matches on the gas rather than try to put out the flames.
And these guys are working hard, and they are putting their lives on the line every day.
Every day.
Instead of recognizing that, we've got all of this divisiveness.